Going quickly because we want to make sure that we get this in for you guys before the rain strikes. So, as I'm wrapping my knees, I would be also putting on something called a lindner, which is a belt that goes around my waist. Johnny, you and Cassidy will go ahead and do the greaves. I will show them what I'm talking about. So I'm wearing what's called an arming doublet. An arming doublet is literally a militarized version of a jacket that would have been worn in civilian times. The point of it is simply to lace all the armor to. Without the jacket, most of the armor does nothing. You can't wear it. It's designed to be supported by this jacket. The lindner is the weird belt you see me wearing, and it is designed to support the upper legs. So all the armor laces onto the knights. As I'm armoring here, Sir Patrick is armoring over there. He and I can each armor ourselves from the waist down. After that, we're pretty much dependent on our squires, our ground crew.
He has to treat us really nicely.
We are the boss, don't let them believe.
We let them believe all of that because it's 2022.
Really? Really? Do you want me to hand up your leaves, sir?
I do, and I really want you to keep my horse calm, but I still have to be a smart aleck because that's who I am. If I wasn't, you'd think I was upset. So, as you can see, we're lacing the leg armor on. Start with the laces at the top.
And that valley boss. When he's done with it.
First two sets, I got the first set. The second set goes into this set of holes. The third set. As you can see, it's quite a complicated undertaking. I hate to tell you, but the Middle Ages, things didn't move as quickly as they do in today.
A lot of strings.
A lot of strings?
Yeah.
And many of them are attached to me. Bad jokes everywhere. Laugh now, I wrote it. It doesn't get better. Alright, got that. So close. So, they're lacing on my legs. I'm wearing 15th century German Gothic style armor. Specifically, they wouldn't have called it that back then. The Germans would have just called it armor. We call it Gothic armor because of the style. It fits the architecture of the time. It's got a lot of cusps, a lot of sharp edges, a lot of fluting involved in this, and a lot of articulation. People have this misconception that armor was really heavy and you couldn't move.
Not wrong.
It's absurd. If I can't move it, there's no reason to have it on a battlefield. If I fall off the horse and I'm a turtle on my back, I'm useless. I can actually turn a somersault in this. I'm not doing it because we don't have time. Alright, this one goes behind the knee. And this one goes through the bottom tab. So, as you can see, this takes quite a pit crew of people to pull it together. Alrighty. So if you will finish buckling legs and things,
Yep.
I will go ahead and finish lacing the jacket.
If you have a blowout, can you change the part?
Do I have what?
Yes.
Have a blowout, can you change the part?
I actually have exchange pieces, so as much as you laugh about that, I do. I have 2 different sets of shoulders and 3 helmets for this armor. Back in the day, this would have been like the Mercedes of personal protection. The armor is literally fit to me. It was custom made for me by 2 different workshops, 2 different armorers, and every so often I get anal about it and I go, I want a new thing. Because I've studied and I've learned something more, and that always ends poorly for everybody. Because they go, what have you done now? You have with the old stuff. And I go, well, I found out some information and the old stuff was wrong. Change it. And then they have to learn new stuff. They get mad. So, what I'm doing is making sure that the lindner actually separates the weight of your legs from your body. There is some talk that these army doublets have the legs laced directly to them. This one used to. And I found I couldn't lift my hands over my shoulders. Bit of a problem. Hey, get on a horse and do this really cool stuff. How am I supposed to do that? It's over my head. The historical information we have is wrong. And so we learned.
What's the name of your group? Where are you located and how long have you done this?
Combatants Keep Historical Entertainment is the name of our group. We're located in Wilmington, Ohio, and how long have we done this? I've been involved in this insanity since I was 19, so about 30 years. And every so often the ground crew changes because they either grow up and age out and tell me I'm insane, or they become nice themselves because they're as nuts as I am.
We've only done a couple days. What are you talking about?
As far as it goes, to give you an idea of the complication and the expense, this armor, when I first started it in 25, 26, and I progressed in different styles until this one, I probably put about $6,000 into it. The current estimated replacement values are roughly $30,000 for this suit of armor. And you have to understand, you can't go to Walmart and go, hey, give me a size large. It just doesn't, it doesn't exist and it doesn't work that way.
There's a whole hole over it there.
Well, you know, I mean, I could, but I also don't like spending time in federal prison. So we won't go that route, although you are 100% right. There is armor that I could go find. Ironically, though, most of it won't fit me anyway. You guys have got the collar bunched up just a little bit, so when you get it buckled, can you reach in and like adjust the... There you go.
Got it?
Yeah, when it stops choking me, it's good. And it all has to be absolutely perfect or it makes you crazy. So the next thing
Rest
we
and
want
back plate.
is rest and back plate is fine. Yes. Adjust this thing. There we go. Okay. Yep, it's gonna survive today, and then we're gonna have to replace the strap. Yes, you are
So
correct.
the horses
He's
that
warning
you
me
use-
that one of my straps is fraying, and it will probably die. I said, well, it has to not die today.
Yeah.
The leather straps and the things that hold this all together are considered consumable goods. They're going to break, they're going to die. It's okay to replace those. We don't want to destroy the plates. The metal plates themselves in the Middle Ages were the hardest, most expensive part. And what a lot of folks don't realize is many of the armors were tempered spring steel. They were a lot lighter than you think. The average weight was about 50 to 75 pounds. I happen to be a little bit bigger, so mine's in the 85-pound range. The average knight was about between 5'6" and 5'8". Occasionally you saw 5'10". Very often a 6-footer was considered a giant, but they did exist. I could walk into the armor court at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, and there are at least 3 suits of armor in there that will fit me. And they're all original. So the idea that everybody was smaller was sometimes true, but not 100%. The nobility ate better, they had better diets, they grew bigger and stronger, they had a very different lifestyle than the middle class or even the peasantry. Okay, yes, shoulders and band braces. Good news is they kind of actually know how this goes.
Done it once or twice.
Maybe.
Once or 3 times. So what they're doing now is they're literally building from the bottom up in a sequential order that will allow me to actually move and function. When I'm done with this, I can literally run, climb, fight, ride the horse, do the things we've all promised you we're going to do, joust, and we can actually tumble if needs be.
We try not to do that.
That's just because nobody wants to clean the armor after I dig a hole in the grass.
No, we don't.
It's all sharp and pointy, so eventually I get stuck. And it looks really not impressive when you're stuck in the mud upside down. But that's only because I'm incompetent, not because the armor doesn't work. There we go. Alright. Forearms and then elbows. The German style arms are, as you can tell, multiple pieces that lace on separately. That's left, you have right. German arms are separated into 3 pieces. The lower arm, the upper arm, and the elbow, and they all are independent of one another, strung to the jacket. It gives you absolute and complete freedom of movement, which is fantastic, except for it takes 5 hours to put me in this, as you can see.
Hey, we're going pretty fast.
You're going very fast, yes. I was being sarcastic. So, you know, the battle is raging, and what is happening? I'm standing here waiting for him to get me dressed, so I'm ready for the party. eccentric, has a mixture of armor. His is what's called either Flemish or Burgundian. It is actually a mixture of both German and Italian armor. Italy, specifically Milan and Augsburg, Germany, were two of the major production hubs of armor in the 15th century. They had very distinct styles. Problem is, Europeans all over would order from these armor manufacturing areas, and they would send them a copy of their clothes and go, stuff it full of straw and make it fit that. It'll fit me. Because the clothing was so it was not uncommon for continental European armies to see a great wealth of both Italian and German armor. At some point, somebody had contacted the Italian armor and went, I really want that cool German stuff, but they're backed up and won't have anything done, and I got a feeling I'm going to go to war pretty soon, so help a brother out, huh? And they went, okay, so they took Italian armor and put some fluting on it and called it some whole new thing. It's kind of like repurposing something and marketing it again. Not terribly different. There was really a huge influx of international trade by the 14th and 15th century. They don't like to think about it, but it is true. In many monasteries and things where they had garbage heaps or any kind of a sewage system built, they found a lot of goods that should never be there. They're like, well, this is from, you know, India, or this is from another part of Europe that we never thought they traded with. Well, it turns out there was a very active trade route in industry during the 14th and 15th century, and it was quite common for them to find things that they didn't anticipate. Like, where do you think all the silk came from? It came from the silk trade. Where do you think, why do I have Chinese coins? Well, somebody traded with somebody that had something funky that they didn't consider money. It became a trinket. There's so much that we actually don't know that it makes what we do know seem minimal. I will never profess to be an expert in all of it. I can tell you about this armor, what it's like to joust in it, and what the early to middle part of the 15th century is like. Every part of this articulates, moves, and everybody thinks that the fluting is decoration. The fluting is not decoration. You want to use your modern conch? We're going to use the modern one, so you don't want to run into it. In this style of jousting, we are going to use what's called an conch. It is a 15th century shield. The idea of jousting is not actually to unhorse your opponent. I won't want that. I will want the leather glove that is in the carry. Thank you.
Okay.
So, my helmet is already out. Mary needs to take the helmets out. She wants the gauntlets and the conch to go out. You want to take that? Let me show this to the coach. So this is the conch. It's going to get strapped onto my shoulder and onto my arm. My opponent's goal is to break his lance on the shield. Why? Because it proves he has control. Why am I stupid enough to let him do this? You're probably wondering. Some days so do I. But the truth is, this is conditioning for war. If I'm not afraid of this, I'm not going to be afraid of spears coming at me in a cavalry charge. That's really what these games are about. That's really what the tournament was meant to do, was keep the knights in practice and condition them against the chaos they were going to experience on a battlefield. All of the mounted games you'll see will exhibit skills that we need as knights on horseback. So I'm going to give you this. It's padded, it's made of wood, it's covered in canvas and leather, it is painted with my heraldry. There are modern competitions in which this happens. You do not need to...
Gotcha. Take these over.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Pardon me.
In these modern competitions, they use something called a frangible tipped lance. That's what we're going to use today, because I still have a 3-hour drive home and I would rather it not stop at the ER first. Knights weren't trying to kill each other by the middle 15th century, and they were trying to break lances. What they were trying to do is see who could break further down. The physics are there, the understanding wasn't. If a lance is 3 inches wide at my handle and it tapers, And I break mine 2 feet down, and Sir Patrick breaks his at 3 feet down. It broke further up and it's thicker on Pat's. He must have hit the other guy harder. He gets an extra point. That's not how it works. There's weakness in the wood. Depends on the angle, a whole bunch of other factors. As you can see, Patrick's armor is a little bit different than mine, but it looks similar. It doesn't have as much fluting. It's designed to have hinges on one side. He loves it. It's his favorite thing in the world. Just ask him, he'll tell you. And the only time he really loves it is when he gets off the horse. He goes, "Wow, I'm not dead. This is good stuff." As far as the tournament goes, breaking lances was the goal, not unhorsings, although they do happen. The trick of it all is historical lances are tapered. Because they're tapered, you have control over where the point goes. Modern lances, if you go to the hardware store and you get a 12-foot stick, like a piece of closet rod, you go, "I have a lance." No, you don't. What you have is a giant wooden noodle. And on a horse, it goes whack-a-da, 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 every time the horse is riding. So anybody that tries to joust that way and tells you, "I can pick my target and I can hit it." No, you can't. And the reason you can't is because your lance is doing this in slow-mo. Anytime I watch footage of it, the whole thing looks like a pool noodle. All the way down, and I'm like, is it going to hit his face? Is it going to hit his chest? Is it going to hit his face? No, it hit him between the legs. That was not a good shot. We're not going to count that. A bad thing. That's why we don't use them. Our lancers are made out of tempered aircraft aluminum and are what are called modern competition lances. The first 3 foot, pine. No argument, it's pine. The goal is to break the pine. The rest of it, we're pretty much hitting each other with flagpoles. So there's a level of stupid here that we are about to undertake for your entertainment. Are you ready? Yeah? That's all I get. I'm up here talking, working the crowd. I ask him one simple thing, I get, yeah. Wait on you. You wait on me? All right. No, here's what we're going to wait on. How would you nice folks like to go across the street with us and watch a joust? Yeah. All right, especially before the raindrops start. So we're going to give you a couple minutes to get over there. We're going to get on our horses, and we will meet you there.